Russian man like inside the dark, call me Bill Snatcher. Just the brother for the rapture. I hang live, holding on strong, hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a garden and start killing. It's manifesting. The God's work like appliances, dealing in my cycle.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another discussion for Boruto Naruto Next Generations, the manga. And for anime only fans, this is the time of the month where a lot of the content that we talk about here on the channel is me spoiler heavy. So I thank you for your support. However, if you're still here, I'm assuming that you've already hit the like button, because you know the deal by now. Hitting the like button is an easy way to donate chakra to Sasuke, and I don't have to tell you that Sasuke in the Boruto era, his chakra levels are almost always on empty, so smash that like button to fill up Sasuke's chakra tank up. So getting right into it, as previously promised, I'm going to be looking at a Patreon fan theory that I do believe has quite a bit of sense to discuss, which is this whole idea, mystery, and phenomenon of Boruto Uzumaki being revived after Kawaki just brutally put an entire hole into this man's stomach in Boruto Chapter 66. Now, the theory in particular is that Amado's cyborg that he's been working on all this time has been a Boruto Uzumaki clone. Now, I know some of you guys have sent me quite a few names to discuss for who Amado's cyborg could be, and I discussed pretty much all of them, from Cyborg Itachi, Cyborg Madara, Cyborg Obito, Cyborg Shisui, Cyborg Minato, Cyborg Hashirama, Cyborg Tobirama, and Cyborg Prime Hiruzen. At this point, it's probably not a character that exists that I ain't covered yet. However, this is the one that I do believe does have some chance of being true, and I have to say, as somebody who is firmly somebody that believed that Amado is just upgrading Delta's body, since Delta has 3 bodies, one destroyed by Naruto, one shut down by Amado, and the other one left unattended. This Boruto cyborg theory actually makes me want to hit the panic button and drop that theory faster than Sakura's panties got gushed by an entire geyser when Sasuke poked her forehead in chapter 699. Now, I know someone's like,
but Naruto explained, Boruto couldn't possibly be a cyborg. He's a human. Humans can't be robots. You're so silly.
To which I would say, with all due respect, you are confusing what is an android with a cyborg. An android is a full-on robot with human features, like say Vision from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, whereas a cyborg is a human with mechanical enhancements, like Brixton from the Fast and Furious Hobbs and Shaw movie, or like Kawaki, Ada, Damon, and Kashin Koji, and all the car Inner members. They are cyborgs. They are humans with mechanical enhancements. So now that we've broken down that difference for the 300th time, let's look at why this Boruto cyborg theory actually makes quite a bit of sense to me. So for starters, we know that Amado stated that he was working on a cyborg that will be a great ally to Konoha. Now, as mentioned earlier, the theories and speculation has been running rampant as to who that cyborg could be. A Boruto clone does make sense, and it actually fits in line with what we've seen in this Boruto era. If we go back to Naruto Gaiden, which was written and drawn by Masashi Kishimoto, it was during those chapters that we were introduced to the science of cloning and this whole topic of, can a clone be considered to be a real child? Is the parent of that clone actually a parent itself, or is that clone merely a tool to be used and thrown away? In the Mitsuki one-shot manga, which was also written and drawn by Masashi Kishimoto, we see that Orochimaru had made clone children for himself in the form of Mitsuki and Log, and during the Mitsuki desertion arc, we learned that Mitsuki has a synthetic heart, something that the Onoki clone Ku didn't have himself, because the car scientist was not able to replicate that level of science, which is the whole reason why they needed Mitsuki's body. However, the car scientist who was helping Onoki create that clone was merely an outer member of Car. He was not actually an inner member like Amado. Now, while Victor was quite the scientist himself, Amado's science is by far heads and shoulders above anything we've seen in the series so far, evidenced by how powerful his ninja tech nanomachines are, how they're able to take normal humans like Delta, Boro, and the Jiraiya clone Kashin Koji and make them into these super powerful creatures. Amado's science isn't just top tier, it's absolutely top of the move. The idea that Amado prepared a Boruto clone and enhanced his body with ninja tech, it isn't that crazy in my opinion. In fact, for this to make sense, the clone would have to have ninja tech, and here's why. By killing Boruto, Kawaki has essentially prevented Momoshiki from being revived because Kawaki ended Boruto's life before his karma could hit 100%. The reason why this is so important is that Boruto would have to do what Amado told Naruto and Sasuke back in Boruto Chapter 46 and in Chapter 47, which was that killing Boruto was the only way to stop Momoshiki's revival, because if you kill a vessel before their karma hits 100% extraction, then the Otsutsuki can't revive into that body. Now, this brings us back to the clone. So if Amado did get his hands on some of Boruto's DNA, then the idea of him making a clone makes even more sense, because Amado would have DNA that was also Otsutsuki DNA, and just as he was able to recreate Kawaki's karma seal, the same could be done for Boruto via his clone. Now, I know some of you guys might be asking, well, when could Amado have gotten Boruto's DNA? Now, Amado was working on a cyborg for a while, even before Boruto and Kawaki came up with the crazy plan to give Code a karma seal. Now, you could argue that because of all the tech that Amado has, if he just got Boruto's DNA in passing and he was able to take that DNA in the events of Boruto episode 220, when we know Boruto's body was examined, albeit it was examined off screen, but it was still examined. If we say that Amado got his DNA then, and that's when he began working on the clone, then that does make sense. Now, I would also say you could go back even further, and you could say that we know for a fact that Kashi and Koji was in the area during the Owl battle and was inside of Konoha for an extended period of time. Both give you the opportunity to get some of Boruto's DNA. If Amado's cloning only requires a small sample of DNA, similar to how Edo Tensei only required a small sample of DNA, it is possible to grab the hair follicles or something as small as the cup that Boruto drinks out of when he gets his Thunder Burgers and use that to get his DNA. Regardless as to how and when he got his DNA, which I do believe the best case is Boruto episode 220, in that off-screen event when Amado and Katasuke analyzed his body. If that were to happen, Amado would have Boruto's DNA, which means that he would have DNA of someone that is Otsutsuki, and he could use that to recreate the karma. Now, taking things a step further, let's look at this right here. So Amado studied under Jigen for years, all while Ishiki was inside of Jigen's body and giving orders using Jigen's body as a puppet. During that time, Amado learned how to create the Byakugan drugs that were able to slow down the conversion of Kawaki's DNA from going from human to being full-blown Otsutsuki. This stands to reason that if he was able to find a way to slow down this conversion, then there is the distinct possibility that Amado could have sped up the progression of someone with the karma seal, which is what he could be doing with this clone cyborg that he's working on. He'd be scientifically placing the karma seal onto the Boruto clone's body, and then because that clone likely had DNA from Boruto at an earlier point in time when Boruto's own karma had not been sped up to 80% conversion, because that DNA didn't have Boruto resonating with Kawaki, it would just require Amado speeding up the conversion of this new karma in a scientifically controlled way where it could be monitored by him. And if you believe that he got his DNA during the events of episode 220, then you wouldn't even have to do that. Now, this also brings up the big question in the room, which is, if Naruto found out about this, how would he react to the fact that he's got a clone for his son? And to that, I would say you can see where Naruto draws a line. He already is unable to distinguish between Borushiki not being his son, even though that's clearly Momoshiki controlling Boruto. And based on his reaction to what you saw in Naruto Gaiden, Naruto is still going to look at that clone like it's his child. And genetically, it would be his child. So I think that we would see Naruto in an accepting manner because we've seen that before and it's very in character for him. Now, going back to other character impacts on this would also explain why Sumire was looking at the cyborg inside the device for as long as she did and as hard as she did. Sumire is obviously aware of all of the shipping wars going on right now. She knows some of you guys want Boruto X Sarada and the others want Boruto X Sumire. At least this way, Sumire can get her hands on that Boruto Uzumaki 4K takedown and not have to worry about sharing with Sarada, because they could each get their hands on a Boruto. One of them will get the original and the other one will be getting the clone. And if she settled for the clone right now, that's looking like the better investment because the original Boruto's dead. However, I want to know from you guys, how do you guys feel about this Boruto being a cyborg clone? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Have an awesome day, guys.